Have you ever looked in the mirror after brushing your teeth and seen a small, faint pink stain in the sink, a tiny bit of blood near the gum line? Most of us dismiss it immediately. We think, it's just rough brushing. We tell ourselves, I need softer bristles, or I must have eaten something sharp. We grab the mouthwash and immediately forget about it until the next morning. That small pink stain, that slight puffiness you notice when you check your reflection, is exactly what top doctors and cardiologists are issuing urgent warnings about today. Ignoring that tiny localized signal is one of the most common and dangerous health mistakes people over the age of 60 make. They warn that something as common and seemingly minor as chronically swollen or tender gums can be the silent early alarm bell for a far more systemic threat: silent heart danger. Specifically, the kind of heart trouble that often gives you no typical chest pain, no heavy breathing, and no dramatic symptoms until it is too late. The silent kind that builds its power completely hidden from view. For decades, we treated our mouth health as separate from our body health. We believed a tooth problem was just a tooth problem. New research has destroyed that belief. We now know that your body is a unified system, and the swelling in your gums provides direct access to your bloodstream. Think of your circulatory system as a national superhighway. When chronic inflammation starts in your gums, a condition often called periodontitis, it doesn't stay local. The bacteria that thrive in those swollen pockets, along with the powerful inflammatory chemicals your body creates to fight them, flood that superhighway. These inflammatory agents are carried quickly and efficiently throughout your entire body. They travel straight to the arteries that feed your heart, causing two major problems. First, they damage the sensitive inner lining of your blood vessels. This damage acts like tiny, rough patches, making it easier for plaque to stick and build up over time. Second, the constant inflammation stresses your immune system, which signals the body to tighten and constrict blood flow. This contributes to stiffening arteries, which drives up blood pressure. All of this critical damage can occur silently, deep inside your body, even if your teeth feel fine and you have no traditional cardiac symptoms. This is why doctors are now urgently asking about your dental hygiene during your routine cardiac checkups. They know the mouth is often the earliest warning station, so let's get specific. What does this dangerous silent inflammation actually look like in your mouth before it becomes a painful emergency? It is rarely a dramatic, throbbing toothache. It is much more subtle. It's the difference between healthy, tight, pale pink gums and gums that look slightly darker, perhaps a duller red, or slightly puffy, almost shiny in appearance. Pay close attention to the area right where your gums meet your molars and near the base of your canine teeth. Do those specific areas look perpetually more red than the rest of your mouth? Do they feel slightly tender when you press them gently with your finger? The single biggest sign we miss is the quiet tenderness. It is not pain when you eat a hard pretzel. It is that slight specific discomfort when you floss, making you instinctively pull back a little instead of cleaning thoroughly. It is the moment the cold water from rinsing your mouth makes your gums tingle and ache, but only for a split second, making you dismiss it as just sensitivity. We quickly adjust our brushing habits to avoid the uncomfortable spot, and in doing so, we allow the dangerous inflammation to grow unchallenged. When you avoid cleaning that tender spot, you are allowing that inflammatory stress to build. That stress is what sends constant low-level warning signals straight to the lining of your heart's blood vessels. It is contributing to arterial stiffness and accelerating plaque buildup, often without you feeling a single flutter in your chest. This silent connection is what makes this danger so crucial for those of us over 60. We are trained throughout our lives to look for dramatic symptoms, sharp pains, sudden dizziness, or difficulty breathing. But the chronic low-grade heart damage linked to neglected gum inflammation starts quietly, deep inside your system. It starts with puffiness and bleeding you can barely see or feel. You need to know exactly what those systemic symptoms feel like when the inflammation moves beyond your mouth. Because if your gums are already signaling trouble, the next crucial step is knowing the 3 subtle non-mouth-related signs that tell you the systemic inflammation has reached the core of your body. These are signals we ignore because they simply feel like just getting older. In Part 2, we will dive into these three crucial daily warning signals. We will show you exactly how that chronic puffiness in your mouth translates into subtle early warning signs in your feet, your sleep quality, and your ability to bounce back from low energy. We need to understand exactly how the battlefield in your mouth affects the center of your chest. It all comes down to the body's delivery system, the bloodstream. When your gums are consistently swollen and inflamed, they are incredibly fragile. Think of the lining of your mouth and gums not as tough skin, but more like a finely woven mesh of protective tissue. When periodontitis hits, that mesh tears. It creates microscopic openings. These openings are the escape routes, the bad actors, the actual plaque bacteria, and more importantly, the inflammatory chemicals they produce. Use these tears to sneak into your system. Your gums are extremely rich in blood vessels. They provide a direct, fast highway. Once these inflammatory toxins enter your bloodstream, they begin their journey. They circulate throughout your entire body. They are no longer confined to your mouth. They become a systemic threat. The inflammation you see in your sink when you brush is now traveling towards your heart. When they reach the cardiovascular system, they cause immediate, silent damage. They don't directly attack the heart muscle itself. Their target is the smooth, delicate inner lining of your arteries and blood vessels. This lining is called the endothelium. It is crucial for keeping your blood flowing smoothly. When the inflammatory chemicals from your gums hit this lining, they injure it. They create turbulence and rough spots. Your body's natural response to any injury is to try and patch it up. It attempts to wall off the damage. It uses cholesterol, calcium, and fatty deposits to build a shield. This shield is plaque. This process accelerates rapidly when inflammation is consistently pouring out of your mouth. This is the silent heart danger that doctors are now warning about: accelerated atherosclerosis. It is the rapid hardening and narrowing of your arteries, fueled not by poor diet alone, but by chronic, unchecked infection starting in your mouth. And the frightening truth is that this severe narrowing can occur for years without giving you the standard warnings like sharp chest pain. Instead, your body sends subtle alerts that are easy to dismiss as just getting old. These are the three specific signs we must pay attention to. If you are ignoring swollen gums, you need to watch for these systemic warnings starting today. Let's look at the first critical sign. This sign relates to a specific change in your exertion capacity that is often misinterpreted. We are not talking about struggling to lift heavy boxes or run a mile. We are talking about the small, daily acts of life. The first subtle sign of accelerated arterial stress is a specific change in your breathlessness during routine mild activity. Think about your usual tasks: walking from the parked car into the grocery store, bringing the laundry basket up from the basement, climbing the single flight of stairs in your home. If, over the last few months, you find yourself needing to pause halfway up the stairs, not because your knees or hips are complaining, but because you feel a tightness or demand for air you didn't feel 6 months ago, that is a critical alert. This is a specific type of breathlessness that feels unfamiliar. It is a persistent, low-grade difficulty that sets in quickly during mild exertion. You might assume, well, I'm just out of shape. But when this symptom accompanies consistent gum inflammation, it may signal that your heart and arteries are struggling to meet the basic demands of moving your body. The inflammation has made the arteries less elastic and slightly narrower. When you exert yourself, your heart tries to pump faster, but the narrowed pipes cannot handle the flow. This specific change in your ability to handle small efforts is frequently the first non-mouth-related symptom that systemic plaque buildup is underway. It's a quiet signal your cardiovascular system is overworked. Do not ignore that subtle pause on the landing. It is often the body's first demand for help. This change in exertion capacity is sign number 1. In the next part, we will uncover the second and perhaps the most surprising subtle sign, a peculiar sensation that often shows up not in your chest, but in your jaw and neck, revealing that the silent heart danger has advanced. We have identified the subtle signs of silent gum danger. Now, we must understand the mechanism. We need to see how a small area of infection in your mouth can travel to become a heart threat. This process is often called the inflammatory highway. Think of your swollen gums not just as soft tissue, but as an open internal wound. When periodontitis takes hold, the infection creates thousands of tiny entry points into your bloodstream. The dangerous oral bacteria do not just stay in your mouth, they slip right into your circulatory system. Your bloodstream becomes their transit route. Once inside, these bacteria travel quickly and silently. Their destination is the soft, vulnerable lining of your arteries and the tissue surrounding your heart. These bacterial invaders act like tiny microscopic irritants. They provoke a massive reaction from your immune system. The body sees the invasion and immediately ramps up inflammation everywhere. This systemic inflammation is the true enemy. In the arteries, this continuous wave of inflammation leads to two critical problems. First, it causes existing plaque buildup to become unstable. That soft plaque can suddenly rupture, leading directly to a heart attack or stroke. Second, the bacteria themselves, or the inflammatory chemicals they trigger, settle inside the arteries. They encourage the blood to clot incorrectly and accelerate the hardening of the arteries, known as atherosclerosis. This is the direct biological link that modern cardiovascular doctors are warning us about. Gum disease is not just about losing teeth, it is about accelerating vessel damage. This silent connection is exponentially more dangerous once we pass the age of 60. Why? Because your body is likely already managing existing stress. If you are already dealing with high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, or type 2 diabetes, your inflammatory baseline is already high. The inflammation coming from your gums doesn't just add to the risk, it multiplies it. It acts like an accelerant poured onto a slow-burning fire. Your immune system, which is naturally less responsive as we age, struggles to handle this chronic low-grade assault coming from the mouth. This is why doctors insist we must close this vulnerability window. The risk is no longer theoretical, it is measured in clinical trials. Studies show that people over 60 with moderate to severe gum disease have nearly double the risk of a major cardiac event compared to peers with healthy gums. Understanding the mechanics of the inflammatory highway demands a critical, urgent change in your behavior. This is not about rushing to brush harder. This is about coordination. The first critical action step you must take today is to break the communication silence between your doctors. Historically, dental care and heart care have existed in two entirely separate spheres. That mindset must end now. Your dentist needs to know your entire cardiovascular history. They must know if you take blood pressure medication, if you have a stent, or if heart disease runs in your family. This information fundamentally changes how they approach and treat your gum inflammation. It changes the urgency. Similarly, your cardiologist or primary care doctor needs to know if your gums are currently swollen, bleeding, or have been diagnosed with advanced periodontitis. If your doctor focuses solely on blood pressure while ignoring the massive source of systemic inflammation in your mouth, they are fighting the battle with one hand tied behind their back. When you next see your dentist, ask them a new question. Do not just ask about cavities. Ask them, based on my gum health, what is my current systemic inflammation risk score? If they are unable to give you a clear answer, it may be time to seek a periodontist who understands this new crucial mouth-heart connection. This coordinated communication is your primary line of defense. It shifts the focus from managing symptoms to eliminating the root source of the inflammation. Once your medical team is coordinated, the next steps focus on sealing the entry points and repairing the gum tissue at the cellular level. This requires strategic daily defense. We must stop the bacteria from entering the bloodstream in the first place. In Part 4, we are going to dive deep into the specific, research-backed daily habits that stabilize gum tissue and aggressively shut down this inflammatory cascade. These are not complicated changes. They involve simple, targeted nutrition and routines that doctors are recommending right now to stabilize the mouth-heart axis. We will look at the 3 most powerful nutritional stabilizers you can start taking tomorrow to protect your heart, starting from the health of your gums. Do not move. The most actionable steps are next. This final part is about action. It is about closing the inflammation loophole before it can permanently damage your heart. We have established that the bacteria and the resulting inflammatory chemicals from periodontitis do not stay politely contained in your mouth. They travel. They contribute to plaque buildup in your arteries, making existing heart risks exponentially worse. Ignoring your swollen gums is giving your heart a permanent headwind of inflammation. We need to stop that wind today. The immediate action, the three-way conversation. The very first step is professional intervention. You cannot scale off deep periodontal pockets yourself, no matter how hard you brush. Action. Step 1. The urgent dental appointment. Call your dentist, or better yet, a periodontist, a gum specialist. Do not just ask for a checkup. Specifically state that you are concerned about silent heart danger linked to your chronic gum inflammation. They will likely perform deep scaling and root planing. This process removes the hardened plaque and bacteria beneath the gum line, allowing the gums to reattach more firmly and reducing the size of the pockets where the danger hides. This is often done under local anesthetic and is crucial maintenance for anyone over 60 with gum issues. Action. Step 2. Bridge the gap. When you see your dentist, you must tell them about your history of heart issues, high blood pressure, or stents. And when you see your cardiologist, you must tell them about your recent gum disease diagnosis or recent deep cleaning. This crucial communication ensures that both specialists are managing you as a single, connected human being, not just a mouth and a chest. A growing number of cardiologists are now requesting C-reactive protein, or CRP, tests. This simple blood test measures general inflammation in the body. If your CRP levels are high, aggressive gum treatment can often bring those numbers down, a quantifiable win for your heart. Ask your doctor about testing your CRP levels before and after your gum treatment to see the direct impact. The daily defense. Mastering the maintenance. Once the initial professional cleaning is done, the maintenance falls to you. This is the daily battle against bacteria, and for many seniors, it requires adjusting lifelong habits and perhaps investing in specialized tools. If you struggle with arthritis, stiffness in your hands, or reduced fine motor skills, the traditional toothbrush and string floss might be making your maintenance harder, not easier. Defense. Pillar. 1. Smart brushing technique. Throw away the hard bristle brush. Hard bristles can cause gum recession, exposing sensitive roots and creating new pathways for bacteria. Use a soft bristle brush, or better yet, an electric toothbrush with a pressure sensor. Electric toothbrushes are a powerful ally for seniors. They maintain the speed and motion necessary to disrupt bacteria, even if your hands are tired. Focus on holding the brush lightly at a 45-degree angle where the gum meets the tooth. This is the critical zone. Brush for a full 2 minutes, morning and night. Divide your mouth into 4 quadrants and spend 30 seconds on each. Many modern electric brushes have built-in timers that vibrate when it's time to switch quadrants. Use these tools. They are designed to save your heart. Defense pillar. 2. The non-negotiable flossing. Brushing cleans the surfaces, but flossing cleans the space between the teeth, the pockets where inflammation starts. If traditional string floss is too difficult, consider 2 alternatives. First, interdental brushes. These tiny specialized brushes look like miniature bottle cleaners. They slide between teeth and are often much easier to maneuver for seniors than string floss. Second, water flossers. These devices use a pressurized stream of water to flush bacteria out of the pockets. If you have crowns, bridges, or limited dexterity, a water flosser can be a game changer for minimizing gum bleeding and inflammation. Remember, if your gums bleed when you clean them, it means they are already inflamed. Consistent, gentle cleaning will reduce that bleeding over time. Systemic strategy. Starving the inflammation. The heart danger linked to swollen gums is ultimately a danger of chronic inflammation. To truly protect yourself, we must address the fuel that feeds the fire systemically. Periodontal disease thrives on high sugar levels, poor circulation, and systemic stress, all of which damage blood vessel integrity. Strategy 1. The diet for arterial calm. What you eat determines the level of inflammation coursing through your veins. Limit or eliminate highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates. White bread, sugary drinks, and packaged snacks turn quickly into sugar, which fuels inflammatory responses throughout the body, including feeding the harmful bacteria in your mouth. Prioritize anti-inflammatory foods. This means healthy fats, like olive oil and avocados, fatty fish high in omega-3s, salmon, sardines, and high-fiber leafy greens. These foods are the construction materials your body uses to repair damaged vessel walls and calm the inflammatory storm. A daily handful of walnuts or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed provides essential omega-3s that actively work to reduce systemic inflammation markers. Strategy 2. Movement to flush the system. Inflammation settles where blood flow is sluggish. Gentle, consistent movement is non-negotiable for improving circulation and flushing inflammatory chemicals out of the system. You do not need to run a marathon. A simple 30-minute brisk walk every day is enough to improve your endothelial function, the health of the inner lining of your blood vessels. When your blood vessels are healthy and elastic, they are far more resilient to the microscopic attacks launched by inflammatory cytokines traveling from your gums. If walking is difficult, gentle chair exercises, swimming, or water aerobics are superb low-impact alternatives that still promote crucial circulation. Remember, the goal is not sudden strenuous exercise, but consistency. Daily movement is a daily reduction in systemic risk. The final insight. The link between swollen gums and silent heart danger is no longer a fringe theory. It is established medical consensus. Doctors are now warning us because they have seen the evidence. The patient who manages their periodontal disease is also taking one of the most proactive steps possible to reduce their risk of a heart attack or stroke. By implementing these 4 pillars of action, professional intervention, smart brushing, consistent flossing, and systemic support through diet and movement, you are doing more than just saving your teeth. You are creating an internal environment where inflammation cannot settle, multiply, and travel. You are actively healing the critical connection between your mouth and your heart. It is time to look at your reflection, check those subtle gum signs, and start the plan today. The risk is too high to wait any longer.